Well, thank you, Chris. I am honored to be here with all of you today and appreciate the great attendance. And that's a tribute to Chris and her leadership team, and thanks to all of you for your willingness to serve the people of Utah and doing it in such a great way. You know, as I look out at this audience, I speak at a lot of events. It just kind of comes with the job. And we get about 10 or 15 requests per day to participate in some event someplace. And I remember a fellow asked me if I would speak at an event here in downtown Salt Lake at a ballroom. And he said, Governor, we promise we'll have about 500 people there. It's going to be a big group. And we'd just love to have you come and address the group. And I said, well, okay, let me check my calendar. And as it turned out, we were able to work that out. And I got there, it was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. And I was there just a few minutes before 7, and it was a ballroom about like this, not table settings, but just kind of lined up with chairs. And there was only about 10 people sitting in the audience. And, you know, I thought, well, Mormon Standard Time, people are going to be drifting in here a little bit later. And as it turned out, about 5 minutes after the hour, there was still nobody really in the audience. And the guy that invited me, I could tell he was a little embarrassed. And he turned to me and says, Governor, I thought we'd have more people here. I don't know what the reason is that there's so few, and should we get started? I said, well, we probably ought to get started. And I said, by the way, did you tell him that I was coming to speak? You know, and he says, no, but word must have leaked out. So I appreciate, Chris, you keeping under wraps that I was speaking here today. Look at this great attendance. You know, there's just so many good things to talk about Utah. I tend to be the state's greatest cheerleader, advocate, chief bragger about the successes we're having in Utah. And it's true, we really are. And it's remarkable. I kind of get up every morning and pinch myself and say, gee, there's all these wonderful things happening here in Utah. They're being noticed by so many people across the country. And I'm one who believes there ought to be a good example for all of us. Somebody ought to be a good example to kind of motivate us, to help us reach upward and improve. And having good examples in our lives, you know, I think we all can relate, whether it be a teacher, a religious leader, parents, you know, grandparents, friends, neighbors, co-workers that really inspire us to do better things. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that Utah right now is in a position of leadership and really being recognized around the country and literally around the world. And I remember I was in China here not too long ago on a trade mission, and it was surprising to me how much that the people halfway around the world knew about Utah. I think in part it's because of the work of Governor Huntsman as the ambassador there and some kind of additional recognition. But as I met there with different people, it was clear that they understood a lot about Utah and the success that we were having. In fact, we met with the Minister of Economic Development one day, and he said to us, you know, we see Utah leading America out of the Great Recession. And he said, we want to be like Utah, which I thought was a nice tribute, and I think mostly genuine, you know, as he'd said that. He did say, though, this. He said, I know it will take us 100 years to catch Utah. You're doing so well, which I thought was a little bit of false humility when he said that. This is the fastest growing economy in the world right now. But he did say this, we will catch you. And I don't know if there's a twinkle in his eye or not. I think he was just saying, I'm putting you on notice, you know, we see you as the leader, and that's what we aspire to be like. So, again, a great opportunity for us as Utahns and as a state to lead the country and be a good example, and a great responsibility that comes with us in doing what we can to, you know, represent the taxpayer wisely. I do, you know, occasionally I come up with a good quote, and with the help of others. But in your program, it talks about our obligation to the taxpayer requires that we continue delivering outstanding results. Our target is to improve government operations and services by 25%, a combination of quality, cost, and throughput throughout the next 4 years. That was the goal I set in our State of the State address in 2013, and what I thought we could accomplish by the end of 2016. We have a tendency, probably in life, to say that's good enough. We can rest on our laurels, as opposed to saying, you know, that's a great achievement. Now what can we do even more? What can we do even better? And we all understand and recognize that the taxpayers' dollars are precious and few, and we need to maximize and optimize how we spend those dollars. And the great successes that we're having in large part are because of the good work of you. Probably more than anything that we have going for us in the state of Utah is we have good people in Utah that call Utah home. And the corollary is we have great people who work in state government. I've been so impressed over the last 10 years that I've been involved with you as Lieutenant Governor and now Governor of the great work that you're doing. You know, I have a lot of opportunities as governor to participate in different events. And some of you may know, just a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity, one of those events that you never anticipate and don't plan for, but I had an opportunity to lead the Utah Symphony. And, you know, my greatest claim to fame prior to that was really kind of singing in the shower and staying on key and resonating with the tile, you know, in the shower. But again, I was invited to come down as part of our promotion of Utah, of the symphony, and our Mighty Five, as we call them, our national parks. And it was a great opportunity. It was something that had never been done before. It was great to have the Utah Symphony down in southern Utah, in the rural setting there, not up here in just the big city. But to take the symphony to the rural parts of Utah, great attendance. We had a lot of people that showed up at each of the events, about 1,500 sold out really weeks in advance. And it was just a great experience for the rural Utah. It was a great experience for the symphony to be in rural Utah. And as part of the promotion to highlight our travel and tourism opportunities we have in this great state and some of the beautiful parts that we have down there next to our national parks. For me, it was a singular experience to be able to ask to lead the symphony. And as you know, my mother, when I was young, I have an appreciation for music because she said, Gary, you're going to learn to play the piano. You're not going to be just a dumb jock, which I like sports, and you're going to have a little sophistication. And I have about as little as anybody, but I have an appreciation for music. And then I played the trumpet when I was in junior high and high school and had a little band that we played in, and I enjoyed that part of my life. But so to be invited to lead the Utah Symphony was really a great honor for me. And they asked me to lead a march. I like marches. I think it's hard to listen to a good march and not have a smile on your face. Try it sometime. I think you can't do it. You listen to a good march, you're going to have a big smile. So they asked me to lead the Stars and Stripes Forever, which is one of our favorite marches. In 1987, in fact, it was named the National March of America. John Philip Sousa, who was the conductor, leader of the band for the Marine Band from 1880 to 1892, 12 years, was known as the March King, some of you know, because he wrote 136 marches. His most famous one was written in 1896. And again, if you think with your history, 1896, what happened in 1896? Utah became a state. So I like to think that John Philip Sousa was inspired, you know, by this new star added to the flag in 1896 that he composed his most famous piece, The Stars and Stripes Forever. Anyway, having that opportunity to lead the Utah Symphony in this stirring march was interesting for me, and again, a great honor. But in doing that, it was something, we had an elevated stage. I had some people just last night, the reason it's kind of on my mind, tell me that when they did it in Zion's, the band was down in a little orchestra pit, and and the audience was up higher, and they could see the different members of the orchestra and their individual responsibilities and what they were doing in this playing of the Stars and Stripes Forever. Different than when I led it, when the orchestra was a little higher up and the audience was lower. They couldn't see as well what was taking place. They could hear, it sounded the same, but it didn't appear the same. And as many of you have heard and seen bands and orchestras play the Stars and Stripes Forever, it's a piece that everybody is involved, everybody has a role to play, and the highlight of the Stars and Stripes Forever is when the smallest instrument performs, and that is the piccolo solo. And they stand up and they do the thing, and they were so happy to be kind of front and center. They had pictures taken, you know, and it was just a wonderful opportunity for me to lead them and lead the piccolos and the trumpets and the trombones and the strings and everybody, the drums, the percussion, you know, really all together makes a wonderful, harmonious music and march. Even though some are highlighted at different times, sometimes the smallest was highlighted the most. I use that really as just kind of a metaphor, an analogy of what we are here as members of Utah State government. We're like a big symphony. We have 22,000 plus members of our symphony, all having different roles to play. Some are a little larger roles, at least more visible. None are more important than another. And the smallest player, the piccolo metaphor, may have a more outstanding result and presence in some different operations than others. But I do know this, that unless we all play together and play our parts well, we don't have the harmony, we don't have the music, we don't have the results that are pleasing to the audience if we do otherwise. So I'm pleased to recognize your great work as the state employees and what you're doing to create a beautiful music, as it were, in state government. And our success program that you're going to be talking a little bit more about today, and building on our past success as a metaphor, the acronym of success, again, in your program. But I appreciate the fact that we see progress taking place. This is not just an esoteric idea that we kind of just put on the bulletin board and kind of genuflect to as we walk by. But this is an actual roll up your sleeves and see what we can do together to do things better and more efficiently. And we're making progress. I've written down here just a few of the highlights. In our Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing, we've been able to reduce the 3-month backlog in pharmacy applications to 2 weeks, and while also decreasing the wait times we have. In Adult Probation and Parole Division of the Department of Corrections, we've achieved an all-time low for female recidivism rates. Again, significant progress there. In our Department of Commerce with our Real Estate Division, have raised the number of applications that they're able to process within 5 days from 75 to 85, and at the same time reducing the costs for those applications by 25%. For the third consecutive year, the U.S. Department of Labor has awarded Utah the UI Triple Crown for administering the unemployment insurance program faster and more effectively than any other medium-sized state in America. Again, a nice tribute to the good work being done there. Our Utah National Guard, by using the success framework, has now improved its tuition assistance reimbursement program. It's now much easier for our citizen soldiers to get the help they need to get back to school and further their education. And it's just a great way for us to, in fact, reward our soldiers and for the service they've rendered and help them come back and be contributing members to our society here in Utah and America. So those are just a few of the examples that I just highlight. Overall, I can tell you, again, it is impressive to me that because of better technology, better processes, more efficiency on your part, that we have fewer state employees working now in state government than we did back in the year 2001. And at the same time, we've had this tremendous growth that's taking place in our state, as you all know, and of about 600,000 more people that call Utah home in that same period of time. So you're doing more. You're more efficient in your jobs and what you're doing. And I would just say to you, as we now are finding those efficiencies and hopefully some savings, we are able to redirect monies into other areas of importance, like our educational system, where we have a significant need for additional monies for our growing student population. It costs us about $70 million a year just to maintain the classroom sizes that we have, not to mention the needs for new technology and advancements in education teaching in our classroom. But I do want to assure you, and we will be looking with Chris's help here significantly, we want to redirect the savings that you're creating to put it back into salaries and benefits. We understand the importance of making sure that our employees, as efficient, as effective they are rewarded for that good work and service that you're rendering, and that you're paid fairly. The debate is always, what is fair, but we want to look at your total compensation package and make sure that you're paid fairly in your salaries and in your benefit package. And so with your help and your efficiencies, we'll have opportunities now to look at improving your compensation package. Last but not least, let me just say to you again, I appreciate the good work that you've done and are doing, and I expect will continue to do. I think it is important that we do think big, we do think differently. It's maybe it was what we did 10 years ago was acceptable, but maybe not today. We need to think outside the box and think of other opportunities out there to represent the taxpayers effectively and efficiently. It's our state. We should have some pride in what's taking place in our state and our communities at large and with our people. And lastly, I just emphasize that point that it really is about people. Virtually everything we do in life is about people, whether we're trying to be a business leader and employ people, whether we're trying to, in government, serve the people. We want to make sure that what we're doing helps improve people's lives, give them opportunity. We want to make sure there's level playing fields where everybody has a chance to go out and compete in the marketplace and have a chance of success. We want to give everybody the optimal opportunity to find success. That comes with having a very an environment that's conducive to equal opportunity and an opportunity for advancement in your life. As a parent, as a grandparent, I hope that my children have opportunities that I had and then some, and more for my grandchildren. I hope they find a world that's better than I found. It's a challenge that we see in today's society and around the world with all the strife and the concerns we have that's taking place with terrorism and lack of opportunity and equality and those kinds of things out there. So I hope that we can all do our part by thinking big and thinking differently. And clearly at the end of the day, it's about the people we serve, that we can feel good about our opportunities to serve them well. I'm here to tell you that we're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. You're doing a great job. And as we continue to work together, we will continue to make some beautiful music and play in harmony and in tune that our audience, the citizens of Utah, will appreciate. Thank you for your work.